Today is Erev Shabbos Kodesh, the second day of the month of Mar Cheshvan, and we have the schus of learning Pesachim Daf Mem Tes Amud Beis at the very top of the Amud and sending out the link at the moment. There we go. For to be able to follow along. And there's some intense statements of Chazal that we're going to need to try to explain here, certainly within our modern day context. But we'll start with the continuation with sugyas of who you should or shouldn't marry. Says the Bryce at the top of Mentes Amud Beis. Tanur Rabban the Bryce says as follows: La'olam yimkar adam kol ma sheyesh lo v'yisabas talmid chacham. A person should sell everything that they have in order to marry the daughter of a talmid chacham. What if you cannot find the daughter of a Talmid Chacham? Yisabas Gedolei Hadar. You should marry the daughter of the Gadol Hadar, or the great ones of the generation. Who exactly are the Gedolei Hadar? You imagine that they'd be Talmid Chachamim. Not so, says the Gemara. The phrase Gedolei Hadar refers to, Rashi says, Anshe Maaseh v'Tzadikim, meaning people that do wonderful good deeds, and they are tzadikim. That does not necessarily mean that they are Talmid Chachamim. Talmid Chacham and Gadol Hadar are not the same thing. What happens if you didn't find the daughter of a Gadol Hadar? You should marry the daughter of the shul president. If you cannot find the daughter of a shul president, you should marry the daughter of the Gabbai Tzedakah, the person that collects and distributes the tzedakah. If you cannot find the daughter of a Gabbai Tzedakah, you should marry the daughter of a school rabbi. And you should never get married to the daughter of an Am Haaretz. Why? And this is very intense. Shehem sheketz, because they are detestable. They are disgusting. And their wives are disgusting. And about their daughters it says, Aru shechev imkol behema. Cursed is one who sleeps with an animal. This is a very intense statement. What exactly are we talking about? He's talking about other Jews here. So the Rishonim and the Acharim all down exactly what is the gather of this Am Haaretz, that a person is not allowed to get married at all to the daughter of an Am Haaretz. And it's interesting to point out, says the Ben Yoyada, that we are not in all of these terrible things that we say about Am Haaretz and their wives and their daughters. We say nothing about their sons. Says the Ben Yoyada, because we'll see later in the Amud that it is possible that from a terribly despicable, detestable Am Haaretz, he could have a son that becomes Talmid Chacham, becomes an Erlich Yid. Why? Because it's possible that he'll be able to get an education, which lich'ori means that today, being that today women also have the schus, and we live in a generation where women have the schus of getting an education. This whole conversation is not relevant, because no matter where you come from, you can get a good education. At this point in time, both men and women are able to get an education, so this conversation would be moot, says the Ben Yoyada. Nevertheless, what exactly is the Am Haaretz that we're talking about here? So some of the Rishonim and Acharonim point out that the Am Haaretz is somebody that is a mumar lahachis, is somebody that violates halacha to stick it to the man. He is the recalcitrant, objectionable, defiant, angry, cursing, screaming, yelling Jew that is making life miserable for religious Jews. That's the Am Haaretz that we're talking about here, which within that context, it probably makes sense. Says the Gemara as follows, quoting a Brisa. Tanya says in the Brisa, Rabbi says, Am Haaretz, with regards to an Am Haaretz, this level of ignoramus, Aseh le'echol basar, an Am Haaretz is not allowed to eat meat. Now, whether he'd listen to you or not, it's a separate question. But why? Says the pasuk. Shenemar, the pasuk says, "Zos Torah behema." This is the Torah of an animal and a bird, which means, says Rabbi, anybody that learns Torah is allowed to eat meat and chicken. Anybody that doesn't learn Torah is not allowed to eat meat and chicken. Why? Meat and poultry. Why? The Rishonim and Acharonim point out, because if he has a shaila, he's not going to go ask. And he's not necessarily going to be careful about all of the halachas. So when it comes to eating meat and chicken, what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is saying is that you can never trust that anything that they say is kosher, because they don't know shaylas. So, and they don't care about halacha. So if they don't know shaylas and they don't care about halacha, so then for sure you cannot trust them, and they shouldn't be eating it. Amar Rabbi Elazar, says Rabbi Elazar, Am Haaretz mutar lenocharoi b'yom kippurim shechalios b'Shabbos. And Am Haaretz, it is permitted to stab them on Yom Kippur that falls out on a Shabbos. Now, what does that mean? That everybody's allowed to walk around on Yom Kippur that falls out on Shabbos and stab an Am Haaretz like this? So the Rishonim are already done here. What exactly we're talking about here? What it means is somebody, an Am Haaretz that is a roidif, that is going to chase somebody to try and either kill them or rape them. And it's on a Yom Kippur that falls out on a Shabbos, which is a way of saying the most extreme sense. So the Rishonim Achronim here already done. Well, what exactly, if any roidif, you'd be able to kill them in order to save somebody that they were going to go rape or somebody that we're going to go kill. So the Maharal points out there, and some of the other Achronim and Rishonim point out that this is a guzma, it's an exaggeration. It's an exaggeration here to tell you that even that even in such a situation, we don't suspect that this Am Haaretz would not be going around raping and killing people on a Yom Kippur that falls out on a Shabbos. Meaning, you might expect that any Jew Yom Kippur that falls out on a Shabbos that have like a little bit of a hiru avera. This is the kind of person that doesn't. That doesn't even have a hiru tshuva. He has a hiru avera on Yom Kippur that falls out on a Shabbos. That's the kind of person that we're talking about here. Amr Tamidim, they said to the Tamidim of Rabbi Elazar, said to him, Rabbi, so why do you say to stab him to death? Why not shecht him? So Amar Lahem, so he says to them, Zeh Ton Bracha v'Zeh Ein Ton Bracha. So he says that Meiri says that this is it's a derech tzachos, that he said to them, yeah, but shchita you need to make a bracha on. Now that's obviously not true. You don't need to make a bracha before shechting somebody, but shchita is something that in other contexts would get a bracha. He doesn't even deserve that kind of respect. Amar Rabbi Elazar, says Rabbi Elazar, Am Haaretz aser lehalvaisa imoy b'derech. And Am Haaretz, you are forbidden to escort on a journey, meaning don't travel with him. Shnema, the pasuk says, Ki chayecha va'orechemecha. The Torah is your life, and it is the length of your days. Al chayav einechas. He doesn't care about his own life because he doesn't care about Torah. Al chayichaviru lekolshken. He's for sure not going to care about your life. Meaning, if it's up to him and something goes wrong, you're done. So it's dangerous to travel with him. Amar Rabbi Shmuel ben Nachmani, says Shmuel ben Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Am Haaretz mutar lekari kadag, and Am Haaretz, it is permissible to tear him apart like a fish. Obviously, in a context where it would be permissible to kill him if he would be a roidif, meaning you don't need to be respectful of the way that you kill him if he is going to. If you need to kill him in order to save somebody else's life. Amar Shmuel bar Yitzchak, umigavoy, says Shmuel bar Yitzchak, that means umigavoy from his back, meaning to slice him in half from like you would gut a fish, that it would be permissible to do. Meaning, halacha l'maisa, I don't think anybody has ever done this, but what Chazal are indicating here is the concern, as we will see in a moment, of hanging out with Amei Haaretz. Because we are going to get first-hand testimony of somebody that used to be an Am Haaretz. Tanya, says the Brisa, Amar Rabbi Akiva, says Rabbi Akiva, Kshahayisi Am Haaretz, when I was an Am Haaretz, once upon a time, I was an Am Haaretz until the age of 40. Amarti, I said, Mi teni Talmud Chacham, if only I would have the chance, somebody would show me a Talmud Chacham, Va'anashchenu kachamer, I would bite him like a donkey. Amr Loi Talmidim, they said, his Talmidim said to him, Rabbi, why did you say like a donkey? Why not like a dog? Amar lahem, so he said to them, now, dogs, when they bite, they don't break bones. Donkeys break bones. I wanted to break bones of a Talmud Chacham. That's how much I hated them. Tanya, shows you the godless of Rabbi Akiva. He flipped from one side to the other. Tanya, it said in the Brisa, Rabbi Meir said, Call Hamesi Bitel Amaretz. Anybody that marries his daughter off to an Amaretz. It's as if he tied her up and placed her in front of a lion. Just like a lion rips apart his prey and eats it and has no shame. He rips it to show it doesn't care who is looking or not. Just so too an Amaretz. Makeh is violent, he is abusive, or boil, and then after he's abusive, then he sleeps with her, and he doesn't care who sees it. Tanya, it was taught in a brisa. I mean, now you understand the kind of person that we're talking about in terms of this Amaretz. Tanya, it was said in a brisa. Rabbi Eliezer says, if not for the fact that we are needed for them, meaning lemasa umatan, for business, How you hargin or son, they would have killed us already. Meaning these Am Haaretz, they hate us so much that if not for the fact that it was good for business, they would have killed us. Tana Rabbi Chia says Rabbi Chia, anybody that learns Torah in front of an Am Haaretz, is as if the rabbi is sleeping with the arusa, the fiance of the Am Haaretz. Why? So Rashi says here, so the ignoramus, the Am Haaretz, feels such disgust when Torah is learnt in front of him. It's as if you are personally insulting him in a sexual way. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Torah tzivah lanu Moshe morasha gilas Yaakov. Torah tzivah lanu Moshe morasha. It is Torah is instructed to us by Moshe morasha. It is an inheritance. Al tikrei morasha. Don't read inheritance. Ela morasha. With a samach instead of a shin, meaning a fiance, and that's the relationship that Talmid Chacham has to the Torah, a relationship of love. And when that is displayed in front of an Am Haaretz, he feels a sense of repulsion and disgust. Says the Gemara, Gedola sina shesonim Am Haaretz Talmid Chacham, the hatred that an Am Haaretz like this has for a Talmid Chacham is greater than the anti-Semites hating the Jews. And we've seen this unfortunately throughout the generations. The Jews that hate Jews hate them much more than the non-Jews who hate Jews. And their wives hate them even more. Tana, it was taught in a brisa like this. Shana uperish, who is the worst of the worst? Of the self-hating Jew is Shana Uperish, somebody that was a Talmid Chacham, meaning somebody that was in yeshiva, and he learned Uperish, and then he went off the derech. Yosem Mikulan, he hates them even more. He has the greatest hatred for Talmid Chachamim. Tana Rabbanan, the Rabbanan told in the Brayso says Shisha Dvarim Never Am Haaretz. 6 things are said about an Am Haaretz. In Moshe Edus, you don't call them to be a witness, meaning we don't allow them to give testimony. Then Mekabel Mimenu Edus. And we in most of them leidus, we don't in most of them edus, we don't testify about them. Ve'in mekablin mimenu edus, we don't accept testimony from them. Ve'in megalin lahem sodin, don't tell them any secrets. Ve'in memanim osim apotropos al yisomim, we don't appoint them to be guarantors for orphans, meaning to take care of the estate of orphans. Ve'in memanim osam apotropos al kupishal tzedakah, and we don't allow them to be the apotropos, to be the people in charge on tzedakah funds. Ve'ein melavin imahem baderech, and we don't escort them on the way. Ve'yesh and there are those that say ein machrisin al aveidase. We also don't announce their lost items, meaning you just keep, if you know that it belongs to an Am Haaretz, you don't have to announce it. Meaning if you know who it belongs to, then you should give it back. But do you have to announce them? So you don't have to announce so that they come and find it. V'Tana Kama, according to the Tana Kama, how come he doesn't count not to announce their Aveda? So he says Zimnin, and this is the point of the Ben Yad at the beginning of Amud. Zimnin denafik minei zar ma'alya. Sometimes you will have a wonderful descendant that will come from him. You'll have good children. It is possible that Am Haaretz will have wonderful children. And this the Medrash Rabbah points out at the beginning of Parshas Chukas. This is fortunately, unfortunately, the way that the world works. Says the Medrash that the same way that Avram Avinu came from Terach. So mi yitain tar mitamei haloi chad hu. So the Rebbeinu Shalom somehow or another can make something tahor come out of something tamei. And so since the Am Haaretz might have wonderful children, so what will happen? And the children will benefit from it. Remember, the pasuk says, Yachin v'tzadik ilbash, somebody that is good and upright will be able to wear it. Says the Gemara continuing, V'chein, we had mentioned at the end of the Mishnah, so too, somebody that is leaving Yerushalayim has to go back to get to burn their kachim. Says the Gemara Lememra, that is to say, the Rebbe Meir Savar Kebeitz Hu Dechashiv, that Rebbe Meir holds that the size of an egg is the amount, because that was the machlokes. Rebbe Meir holds that the size of an egg is the amount that you have to go back for. Rabbi Yehuda Savar Kebeitz Kazais Nami Chashiv. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says no, Kazais is also important enough to go back for to go burn that on Har HaBayis. V'ramini, and we asked the contradiction about this. Ad Kamahin Mezamnin, the Gemara, the Mishnah at the beginning of the seventh, or in the middle of the seventh parak of Brachos, talking about how much you have to make a zimun, how much you need to eat in order to make a zimun. Ad kazayis, So that's what the Mishnah says, that you will make a zimun on somebody that has had a kazayis and olives worth. Rabbi Yehuda says al kibetza, that it's up to an egg's worth. Meaning, this is the opposite opinion. There, Rabbi Yehuda says that you need a kibetza in order to make a zimun, and here he says that you go back to burn even a kazayis. So Amar Rabbi Yochanan says Muchlefes Hashita. No, yeah, it's a mistake. Switch around the shitas. Abaya says no. La'olam lo sepuch. Who says you switch around the shitas? You never have to switch them around. Hasam bikroi pligi. There's a machlokes in the psukim. Hachas var pligi, and here there's a machlokes. There's a disagreement with regards to logic. What's the machlokes in Svar and what's the machlokes in logic? So also Mikrai Pligi, they argue about the pasuk of it. Reb Meir holds, what does the pasuk say? Ve'achalta v'savato verachta. Ve'achalta, what is ve'achalta? And you will eat. Zu achila, that refers to eating. V'savata, you'll be satiated. Zu shtia, that refers to drinking. Ve'achila b'kazayis. And anytime that you have achila in the Torah, stam achila in the Torah, anytime the Torah says to eat, that means a kazayis. Rabbi Yehuda holds ve'achalta, you should eat. V'savata, and be satiated. Both of them are referring to eating. Achila sheyesh basavia, that means that the Torah is obligating you in order to be chayv and benching on a level of daraisa. You have to eat in such a way that you would be satiated. Ve'ezuzu, and what is the minimum amount of satiation? Big kibetza. Meaning this is not regular achila. This is achila that also has satiation, satiety built into it, which means that it has to be more. And that is with regards to benching. Hacha b'svar pligi, and here they are disagreeing with regards to a logical discussion. The Rebbe Meir holds that you have to go back for the same amount that would render a person tameh. Just like if it was, just like it only becomes tameh if there is a kibetza. So too, you have to go back to burn it if there is a kibetza. Rabbi Yehuda holds chazarasa ke'isura, that the chazara is like its isur, meaning if you would eat it in the wrong place, in the wrong time, if it was tameh, ma isura b'kazayis, just like the isur is a kazayis, af chazarasa b'kazayis, so too you have to go back to burn it if it is a kazayis. And Be'ezhem Yisbarach, we will continue with Daf Nun tomorrow before Minchatam. Looking forward, Be'ezhem Yisbarach, to finishing up the parak tomorrow, Shabbos and Matzah Shabbos, for those that are following along online. And we will continue with the brand new parak on Sunday. Be'ezhem Yisbarach, everybody should have a beautiful Shabbos.